everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll start looking at JavaScript get date method through which you can get a date in JavaScript. And the first thing we are going to start with is the new date constructor. In JavaScript, date objects are created with new date. As you have seen in the previous lessons, that when you want to create a date object, you create it. When you want to create a date, you create it with the date object, which is the new date. New date returns a date object with the current date and time. So when you use the new date constructor, so it returns a date object with the current date and time, which means that the output or the result for a new date constructor is a date object with the current date and then the current time. Now, if you look at what I have on my screens, these are some date get methods that we'll be looking at one after the other after this particular lesson. But let me just give a brief overview of them before we start diving into each of them one after the other. Now, get full year. The get full year method get year as a 4-digit number. As you can see that the year is represented in 4-digit number, year. Get month as a number 0 to 11. Because we have 12 months in a year, and counting in JavaScript starts from 0. That is why you are seeing 0 to 11 as against 1 to 12, like the way you see in a traditional mathematics or counting. Get date as a number. We have months that could be 30, and we have some that could be 31, and we even have some that could be even less than 29. For example, the month of February sometimes, almost every year is always less than 30. So that's an example as well. Then the get day method gets weekday as a number. We have 7 days in a week, but in JavaScript that is going to be translated into 0 to 6 because counting starts from 0 and not from 1. Then we have the get hours method 0 to 23. The same thing is applicable 0 to 23 as against 1 to 24. We have 24 hours and is represented from 0 to 23. The get minutes method gets minutes from 0 to 59. We have 60 minutes we have 60 minutes in an hour. So it is represented from 0 to 59. The get seconds method helps to get second 0 to 59 for seconds because you have 60 seconds in a minute. So the counting is from 0 to 59 and not from 1 to 60. Then we have the get milliseconds method, which can be used to get milliseconds. So it can get milliseconds value from 0 to 9999. And then we have the get time method, which can get time in milliseconds since January 1st, 1970, which has been a reference time for computer when working with a reference date for computer, when working with date, just as it was explained in the previous lesson. So let's assume that you want to get a current time in JavaScript. How do you do that? Don't forget we have talked about it, but let me just quickly show that again in this lesson. We're talking about JavaScript. Date methods. So let me just come into my script to get current time. If I want to get current time, the usual way, so I'm just going to make a new variable and pass it like this. Then I can get this document dot get element by hiding demo dot inner HTML equals to D. And right here, you can see the current time in my browser, which is this 12:00:13 seconds. But what you are seeing here is not running, it's just a static display of time, just as we've discussed in our previous lesson about date and then time and JavaScript. So this is how you get current time just by calling the new date object. You get the current time and the date. And you can see that today is Tuesday, January 2026, which is the correct date for the day I am where I'm recording this, and then the time as at when this script was run is what you can see here, and the GMT of where my browser time is is what you can see right here on the screen. So this is how you get the uh, current time in JavaScript. Also, there are things I want to just want us to take note of. Now, all the things that you have here, like the get full year method, get month method, all through to get time method, all returns local time, which means that the time that you get from this will be a local time, which is going to be something that is coming from your browser time zone or your system or whatever it is that you are using at a particular point in time. So also, I want to point to the fact that the get method return information from existing date objects. So when you pass any of these get date method, it returns information from existing date objects. And also in a date object, the time is static, the clock is not running. So just as what we saw now that I am seeing 12:00 12:00 and 13 seconds. If you look at the current time of my system, as you can see, it's already 12:02, which means that this was showing only as at when I ran the script. It stopped counting after the output has been displayed, which shows that the date object and the time in it is static. The clock is not running at any point in time when you are working with it. So take note of this. Don't assume that I'm supposed to get but they say this is just to get a current time, and why is my time lagging behind? That is because um the clock is not running when working with date object, and so the time that you get is always static regardless. It only will pick the current time when you run the script or when the program is run, and it will not start counting or start adding to it other than what it has picked at that particular point in time. So this is how you get the current date in JavaScript. And also in the upcoming lesson, we start to take a look at how each of these method helps us to create new dates and show us how a new date method return a date object with the current date and time. Thank you, and in the next lesson, we'll continue from here.